Hello, and welcome to T2G2, the Tabletop Grievance Guide, where we air our grievances about adventure paths, which we think are silly.
Oh boy.
I'm Tyler, and this week in...
No, Tyler, you have to say the adventure path that grieves you the most, if that's what we're calling this. We don't care what you did this week. We want to know what really makes you mad.
Oh, man.
The adventure path that grieves me the most...
is it Age of Ashes?
I mean, Age of Ashes probably grieves me the most. Not just, I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. No.
What a rousing introduction, Tyler.
No, the adventure that grieves me the most was Fall of Plaguestone, because I ran that like during COVID, and one of my coworkers recommended that I do that one. And then all the people who played were not like my friends. It was like coworkers and one of my friends. So then all I had was like one guy who didn't understand spells, one guy who didn't understand like how to play a cleric, one guy who didn't understand how to play a champion, and then my buddy Andy. And I'm like, this is not fun to play.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. So we got through that adventure, and then I bailed on everybody and took Andy to start a new campaign.
So Tyler is aggrieved by other people.
I'm aggrieved by other people. It's fine.
I'm Sam. I don't actually know if I have an adventure path that like really grieves me because I have not done enough of them. I think that really I aggrieve myself. I make plot points that only I understand, and then I get frustrated. So it's all my fault.
Your custom adventure paths.
When you're
Campaigns.
When I make elaborate murder mysteries that nobody understands.
When Sam makes elaborate murder mysteries, as if somebody was actually going to get away with it in a way that's, and they would have.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm Ryan. Tyrant's Grasp.
And that
no
was our
further notes.
That was our episode today. Thanks, guys. Reminder, you can support us on Patreon. There's a link in our show notes and a page on our website, or you can search us at Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast on Patreon. And also announcement for Patreon, we now have a Patreon Discord.
Woo!
So I finally got off my lazy butt and started the Discord because I'd used the Patreon chat a little bit. And spoiler, it sucks.
Yeah, and I actually interact with the Discord.
Yeah.
I use Discord.
Well,
we all have Discord on our phones.
And it notifies you when somebody
me.
messages. Yeah. So the Patreon Discord is open to all levels. So the 2, 5, or 10, you can join. We're still, I'm not a big Discord moderator type person. We have a off-topic channel, some campaign channels. We've been talking minis, and
some people have made their own channels, which is great. There seem to be plenty of other more Discord-savvy people in the world, which is lovely.
Yeah. So if you want to interact with us on a day-to-day, we are usually there. I'm usually checking it while I'm working. It's fine. So yeah, feel free to support us on Patreon. And with that, Ryan.
I'm not trapped here with you. You're trapped here with me, folks.
This is why we have beers. Cheers.
I have in all caps, you all wanted this. I don't know that that's actually true, but I wanted this.
Somebody
wanted this.
I think it was Aqua Lantern, one of our patrons in the Discord, was like still waiting for that Tyrant's Grasp. And we're like, you know what? We're doing it.
Okay. Let's go. Here's my topic number 0.
Oh boy.
Before we begin
figuring out safe words.
Okay, so full disclosure, Paizo works really hard on this stuff, and I'm going to be really critical of some stuff. I love Paizo. I'm totally like the second most important Paizo shill on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Tyler being the first.
Paizo.
So all that blood, sweat, and tears they pour into this is still amazing. I still super enjoy it. I do this because I was passionate about the adventure path, not because I think it sucks.
Yeah.
Yes.
My formal training is mechanical engineering. I am not an author. Sam's more of an author than I am, substantially. So I could be full of shit. This is going to be an explicit one for Ryan.
This is going to be an explicit one.
I'm drinking. We're rolling with it.
Hide your children, everybody.
I started this journey like 8 years ago, and I still think about this adventure path. So like...
It keeps Ryan up at night.
Literally multiple nights where I'd sit awake in bed and be like, how do I make that better? Because what I want. So, yeah.
No, just think of it as it's not...
Sorry?
As an engineer, you don't write it from scratch. You take the pieces and improve them, and you have plenty of time to
Look,
modify.
I fully respect this. I'm going to share something really nerdy that you guys probably know. I don't know. But when I was in middle school, I took The Lord of the Rings and annotated the entire 3-book collection to add a female character because I was so mad about the
That's
lack of
incredible.
representation.
I didn't know about
I don't
this.
know where that book is, but I literally did like page numbers and added paragraphs of text to the entire
I hope
thing.
this ended up in like a half price books and someone acquired it and like, what the fuck?
No, I didn't write in the book. I had my own like journal. And so then
Oh.
I would tag the page numbers to the versions that I had and just write in
That's
the
somehow
added
worse.
paragraphs. Oh, I know. It's so look, I respect that Ryan was
love
kept
it.
up at night by this adventure path and had to make his own version.
Right.
This is essentially fan fiction
Oh yeah.
at its best.
Yeah,
Or worst.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Also, Tolkien's just not a great author. No, I'm kidding.
Look, we love Tolkien. We just would have loved more women doing more things. It's fine.
It was what, the 1930s he wrote that? It was post World War One, I think. Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
It was definitely post World War One. I can't remember if it was before or after World War Two.
I don't know.
Anyway.
That's a different podcast.
Welcome to the Tolkien cast. Book 1, The Dead Roads. I just blew out my mic probably for Tyler.
Probably. I'll adjust it.
Okay.
I'll edit that in post.
We'll fix a lot of this in post. Yeah, we're going to go through the books and then I assume I'll put some thoughts in, but
Also, this is going to be a 2-parter.
this might be a 3-parter.
This
Tyler.
might be a 3-parter. We realized Ryan being a dad
Yeah.
in general, us
Us
having busy lives,
Having
we're
too
like,
many commitments.
it was time. We couldn't have a full get drunk and record moment,
Yeah, it's
so we're
fine.
just gonna do.
And I am not allowed to be drunk right now.
That's
so
true.
that would have been mean if you guys were drunk and I was the only one sober.
Sam's the one keeping
There's
this whole
still,
thing on the
there's
rails.
still time, Sam. Anyway, the party awakens in Roslar's tomb. Irvin Roslar is a paladin of Erasni. Erasni. He was like really into her.
Oh.
Like wanted to marry her into her.
Oh man, we start with a creeper.
A little bit. He got tricked by the Whispering Way into revealing information that led to Erasni's death. So
Oh.
he's responsible.
What?
Oh, buddy.
Buddy, you have one job.
So he was really bummed when he found out that his failure of information got his parasocial love
Yeah.
Sure.
killed. So he volunteers to fight in the front lines and dies.
Cool.
Sure.
Cool.
The Knights of Ozum kind of know about this and they cover it up and still give him a hero's burial. And you wake up in this tomb.
That sounds
What?
like the army.
The Knights of Ozum are amazing.
Knights of Ozum, fantastic people.
So you wake up there. After escaping the tomb, you find out you're...
Wait, do we have amnesia? Did
Oh,
we
don't
come
worry.
here on purpose?
This is like a...
You wake up in the tomb. Who am
Heart
I?
open.
No
Heart
further
open.
questions, Your Honor.
I kind of actually love it. It's just like heart open. You wake up in a tomb. So then as you get out of the tomb, you realize you're actually in a 1-to-1 copy of the tomb in the Bonelands. You're dead.
Oh.
I'm
You're all dead.
Okay.
You're
You
all
wake
dead.
up in a tomb. JK. Actually dead.
But you're a really cool 1-to-1 copy of the tomb.
Okay.
It's like a 1-to-1, like 0.95 copy. We'll get there.
Okay.
Tyler already hates
Ryan,
me.
that's oddly specific. I wonder why. Foreshadowing.
So yeah, you pop out and you encounter a couple chill psychopomps, and the psychopomps immediately comment on how the players are weird.
And if you don't remember what a psychopomp is, those are the little dudes in Pharasma's realm who lead spirits to where they need to go to the right gates to get to the right realm.
Yes. So they like identify that you kind of have something weird about you, and they take you to like right outside the coffer, and the entire town's there too with you, and they're all also dead.
Huh.
Oh.
All the men, the women, the children, everyone's dead.
Here's the point where you have a record scratch, and you might be wondering how we got here.
Kinda.
I am wondering how I got here.
So yeah, you like pop out. The psychopomps are like, "Hey, you're kind of weird. We'll fast track you to Pharasma if you want.
Okay.
It'll only be like a couple decades.
What?
Well, it
Cool.
takes like a century or two of hanging out in the
Oh.
boneyard to,
Yeah.
to actually get there.
So
These decades happen in real
are
time.
we in the boneyard?
Oh yeah, you're there. You're dead. You're
no,
super
but like
dead.
our whole town is in
Oh
the
yeah,
boneyard.
like a 1-to-1.
Like,
Is everybody also confused? Like everybody just wakes
everyone
up. And
is
it's
also
That's-
kind of confused.
not my understanding of typically how things show up in the boneyard. So
Like with the actual physical structures and everything.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, okay, just
Maybe-
checking.
maybe,
Like when you die, your house also gets copied.
maybe the town died. It got unincorporated and it went to the boneyard.
Goodbye.
As soon as that contract got burned, man, it's done. It's all over. So, spoiler, it's the shards of the shield of Arnesund. That's what actually is making you weird, which will come back super duper later.
I'm sorry. Do we all have a shard embedded in us?
Yes,
Are we
you
holding
do.
it?
Oh,
You have a shard
okay.
embedded in you.
How many shards were there?
Well, there's 10 big ones, and then you have like tiny shards.
Oh, okay. So we're not a big shard.
The tiny
So,
shards,
so we
yeah.
talked about this.
But
and
you
then-
don't know that yet. But
Yeah.
I'm just like,
We're a Horcrux.
Ooh.
basically, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So we talked about this in the Gravelands episodes.
Yes.
Like we obviously know what the Shields of Arneson were, like how it's
Yes.
happened. So like, is this common knowledge with the fight with Baphon yet, or is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah,
This would be
yeah.
a long time
That's
ago.
right,
yeah.
that's
So I
right.
guess like 30-second version, Arnesant gets a shield as like a relic from Iomade and uses it to deflect wish and kills Baphon with it.
Perfect.
But that shield breaks into 10 shards, and there's a whole different adventure path where those shards get stolen, which leads to this, and also kind of crosses over with this. But yeah, so you don't know it yet, but it's the shards that are causing you to be weird. So you kind of like mill about the town, and you're like, "Hey guys, isn't it weird being dead and stuff?" You talk to the children, and you like counsel them on like it's okay being dead. It's a very weird.
Are we the
macabre-
only weird ones, or does everybody?
You're the only weird ones. Yes.
Okay, so the psychopoms are like, you guys are weird. Everybody else, chill.
Yeah, you can talk to the mayor. Yeah, you're gonna meet McTenna. She's like projecting her voice, and she's like a big bureaucrat, and she's like, "Everyone who's dead, please line up for processing," and like wants it all to be like structured. Like, well, you're in her realm. It's time for you to be processed properly, and right away, all the PCs are like, "Yeah, fuck that, fuck that.
Fair.
I don't want to be dead."
Yeah.
All the townsfolk generally, like, you can talk to them. They kind of all agree that like you're something weird about you too. Like even the townsfolk acknowledge that it's weird, and the psychopomps think you're weird, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we should like spring you from death.
My what? Okay, hold on.
Like you can escape from the boneyard. Let's get you out of here."
Huh.
So you have an entire town that dies, and the weirdest thing, they're like, "Huh, these 4 people are weird." Not the fact that like, "Hey, we're all dead." Like that's the least shocking.
And then the
bit about
response
this.
to weirdness is, yeah, you should escape, rather than like, we should probably tie you up and confine
Yeah.
you.
Again, the psychopomps are like, "Yeah, you could escape too." They actually share that there's a super secret psychopomp road that they use. It's called the Dead Road, and you can walk the Dead Road back to like the mortal realm, back to Galarian.
Oh my gosh.
You just can't look back.
You can
It's
Hades Town.
Hades Town.
It's Hades Town.
You can Hades Town yourself back to life. Yes, that's correct.
For those of you who have not seen the musical Hades Town, you're missing out. It's fantastic, but is the story of
Orpheus and Eurydice,
yes,
which is a Greek myth. But they go to hell.
and they have to walk
Down
their
a
way
road.
back. Anyway,
Yeah. So editorializing, I mean, I think this is a kind of bomb start. Like,
yeah,
you're dead. There's something weird, and everyone's like, "Yeah, go escape death."
I think
I mean,
yeah,
that
And you're
part
level
sounds
1,
fun.
so like,
I mean,
Oh, jeez.
I'm here for this because it's not like, hey, you start off with a bang.
yeah,
It's not just like, hey, you're in a tavern and you need to fight some rats and then it blows over there. It's like, you are dead.
Yeah.
You need to get out of there.
Yeah.
I support this so far.
I like the idea of secret roads back to life. That sounds fun.
Secret
Yeah.
tunnel.
yeah. So the Dead Roads, you're basically the entire book now is you walking the Dead Roads, trying to escape the boneyard.
Fun.
Okay.
So I'm going to yada yada a ton of content here, but there are like 3 major locations or encounter areas. There's the Palace of Teeth,
Don't like that.
which is
Mm.
like it's like a weird boneyard tooth fairy crossover of like death teeth.
Yeah, but aren't those,
It's kind of metal.
don't the tooth fairies in like Pathfinder rip out your teeth?
Yeah, that's why it's kind of metal. It's like a gross
Get out of there.
murder tooth factory. That place is cool. There's a manor called the Nine Eves, which is like literally a Scooby-Doo funhouse
Okay.
with like eyeballs in
it.
the paintings and everything. Like it's
Nice.
goofy.
Okay.
And I'm going to mispronounce this one. Salgahara,
I think it's Salagaras.
Salagara's Scriptorum,
Mm.
which is like a generic university just full of dangers. And it's like kind of generic
Okay.
encounters and traps and stuff. So you have to go through those 3 things. And at all of these stations at the end, you basically have to get like your road passport stamped. Because like all along the way, like you're still subject to the bureaucracy of the boneyard. Like you can't just escape. You also need to like get your passport stamped for proper escape.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's a combination of like murdering your way through, but also diplomacy encounters and like trying to work your way in lots of different methodologies. Yeah. And those are like the 3 major dungeons of the content.
Okay.
But the final area is the Death Blower. It's McTurna's
Death Bower.
Death Bower.
Death
Blower.
blower.
Death
I
Bower.
think it's
It's McTurna's private garden, the like, disembodied voice that's thrown
Oh,
early in
okay.
there. And it's she is like the head bureaucrat who's like, she's like the BMV like worker who's like, these people aren't waiting in line. They didn't take a number. This is ridiculous. So she like keeps sending agents to deal with this and getting more and more frustrated that people are like breaking bureaucratic policies
Hilarious.
until finally she's like, you know what? We're doing, I'm if you want something done right, you're going to do it myself. So she shows up or you run into her either way. Presumably you kill her or like defeat her.
poor lady's just trying to do her job.
Honestly, she's just trying to do her job. It's a lot of fun though. There's a demigod that shows up after defeat. After you defeat her, the demigod senses those shards and like, oh, I see you have 3 passport stamps. I will take you the rest of the way and take you out of the boneyard back to Galarian.
Okay.
And that's like book 1.
Huh.
It's like a very goofy, death-focused.
I feel like that could just be like even like a one-off. Like you just run that book and you're done. Like, hey, you made it out of death for some reason.
Yeah, McTurna's very like Dia de los Muertos themed and like it's
Mhm.
very, very colorful even though you're in the boneyard. So it's really, really cool. There's lots of horror, but also lots of humor. And I really like McTurna as like a big
McTenna?
baddie. McTurna.
Wait, McTenna.
McTurna. I probably spelled her name wrong the whole time too.
Is it McTurna?
I spelled it right the first time.
McTenna.
McTenna.
Okay.
McTenna. Don't worry. She never comes back after this.
She's no longer relevant.
So we
to
don't
this
need to
plot.
know her name. Ooh.
But I like her because I think she's a great example of like a level 1 to 4 boss of like, she is relevant. She's important to the plot. She's evil, but like, or she's like an obstacle to the players, but you also don't feel like, oh, well, this has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, like she isn't just showing up randomly out of nowhere. It's like she has a job to do.
yeah.
They're trying to get rid of
There's motivation for her behavior.
Yeah. Yeah. So like overall, my thoughts are like, yeah, I really like this book. I
Nice.
completely cut all of this from when you
Yeah.
guys ran it.
I was
I
gonna
was gonna
say,
say the one thing Ryan likes, we didn't do.
Yeah, I mean, just like thematically didn't match what I wanted to do.
no.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really cool introduction and there's a ton of mystery too. Like, you're dead. Escape being dead.
So from that part of it, by the end of book 1, do you know why you are dead?
Nope.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So we don't know yet. All right.
Nope. You don't know. You just know you're going to get out.
Okay. What's the canon for what you remember? Because obviously you build your character. So like, do you know anything about yourself?
You
or...
know, like your history and then, it's been a long time since I read
hazy?
the actual book, but yeah, it's very hazy of like, wait, why am I here and dead?
Okay.
Yes.
We'll find out.
Yes, that's book 1.
Ryan's top book 2 was Eulogy for Roslar's Coffee. And I'm like,
it's coffer and
Huh.
It's very good coffee, we hope.
Yes. So, Roslar's Coffer, round 2, or book Eulogy for Roslar's Coffer, book 2. Kind of like how Tyler did before. You don't know any of this yet, but like as a GM, you need to know this so you can provide context.
so you're not gonna give us the twist at the end.
No, because I'd
Aw.
honestly, no, it's not happening. Because you
We'd
know,
be very confused.
and you know all of this. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little different. So you two know, but, and I guess even our podcast listeners know, like when Tar was trapped, Tar Baphon, he threw negative energy at the Great Seal, the place he was trapped in Gallowspire, all his negative energy at it, and he couldn't get it to work. So he basically said, well, I'm literally stuck here for eternity. I'm going to study positive energy.
Ooh.
I'm going to be a good cleric.
Okay.
Was he really going to be a good cleric? Or was he just, I'm just going to study that because it seems like a new fun thing to try.
Well. So one of the shards, so there's actually 12. I misspoke. Instead of 10, it's 12. There's 11 on the material plane, and there's 1 in his hand.
Sure.
Cool.
So he's like using it as a focus.
Okay.
And he realizes like, oh, I can sense the other 11 shards and I can almost like communicate with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he does more research, positive energy, and goes, oh, I can create magical resonance and I can blow up a shard in a nuclear explosion.
Oh.
Ryan did keep this part.
I did keep this part. This is probably the first part I was like, I really like that.
Ryan, the engineer. A nuclear bomb. Ooh.
I would like to create a nuke, please. He calls this radiant fire.
Sure.
So this is like the super weapon that hangs over the entire adventure path, that he can do this at any point.
Okay.
You don't know this as the players,
Yeah.
but the reason you are all dead is because he tests the first shard in
Aw.
Rosler's coffer. So you are there for the initial
Oh.
test.
Okay.
Worked great.
And it works great. You're all killed. There were a group of heroes right near the shard when it blew up, and you all got like splinters of the shards.
Were you actually heroes or were you random people?
I mean, you were like, you
just showed up. We're on a little like tour. It's fine. Just checking out
are
some tombs.
heroes in the sense of like you were called to a place to do a job, and then a
Okay.
thing blew up.
Okay,
and you
I
happened to be
wasn't-
nearby.
I wasn't sure if it was like, I am the bread maker who happened to be by, got blown up, and now I'm a hero.
We're
Like,
actually the custodians. We came to just sweep and clean up the tomb.
No, you're all like Pathfinder heroes, not
okay.
like
Okay.
And then your antagonists going forward, there are groups of Whispering Way, which are adherents to Tarbaphon. They are all sent to research the after effects of the blast in Rosler's coffer. So they're like, oh, what happened in the nuclear explosion? Like, let's figure out if anything survived.
Oh gosh, they're gonna get radiated. It's gonna be bad.
Well, they're all undead, so I don't think
That's
they care.
fair.
Yeah.
So, back to our actual group of adventurers. They re-enter Galarian right on the outskirts of Rosler's coffer.
The obliterated one.
Yeah, the dead one.
Ooh.
And you realize immediately there's like a bunch of warped plants, and there are undead everywhere. Oh, and also there's a giant dome of poisonous green fog that like encompasses Rosler's coffer.
Cool.
Are
Cool.
we alive or are we undead now?
You're alive.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the fairy pops you back into life.
Yes, and you're in
Okay.
the dome. So you're on the inside and you can't see out, but you realize you're trapped in a green dome
Of fog.
of fog.
That's
yes.
poisonous.
Yes.
Huh.
And there's even rules. It's like your players might try to man mode this. They're dead.
Oh.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
It's like progressive, right? Like, oh, I stick my hand in there and like your hand will wither slightly. And like I step into the fog, like, oh, well, you take poison damage.
Oh, so the dome is made of fog. It's not filled with fog.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
that
I
makes
was
more
like,
sense.
we popped into existence and we're immediately dying? This sucks.
Adventure path over.
No, I envision like the dome from Star Wars Episode 1.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's like a tangible thing, but it does say
Yeah.
in there, it's like your players might be idiots and then die.
Okay. Fair. Fair.
Try to
You
make
worked
them not
so
do that.
hard to get here.
The next session, 4 more people wake up in a different part of the room. You are also strange.
You were the janitor hiding underneath in the closet.
You hid in the fridge.
Yes, you hid in the fridge. So you're like kind of trying to figure out, you're in the stable, like what the heck to even do. You realize there's like a guy nearby. You realize you can either like save him because he's being chased, or depending on if you've like properly stealthed and then hit his own traps, he might attack you.
Hmm.
So like if you're being openly conflict causing, or
Yeah.
there's ways you can interpret it as a GM. But his name is John Doe.
John Doe.
And
Could it also be Yondo?
it could be Yondo. It's true. Either way, hopefully you don't kill this guy because he's a very important plot exposition dump.
Ah, ooh.
But if you do, then you can kind of just get some of this too. The city's exploded.
Shocker.
Fair.
So John Doe's like, yeah, I was on the outskirts, and then the entire city just got nuked.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The dome of green fog is here, but it wasn't here until a day after the explosion.
Mm.
So like explosion happened, he kind of went into town a little bit, and then the fog showed up.
So then he just got stuck.
Yes, exactly. And then he right away is like, oh, there's the Whispering Way here. He isn't connected to Tarbaphon for you, but it's like, oh, this is weird. Whispering Way is weird. Like you're immediately kind of giving some of those breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
You enter the town and there's a light on in the cemetery.
Ooh.
It is the collective thoughts and prayers of the dead citizens
Oh,
back on the boneyard.
jeez.
Hashtag thoughts and prayers.
Oh.
If it has like, and it's called a loci spirit. It's like an actual creature. you can actually like do a fetch quest for it. And if you do, it'll give you access to portions of the tomb you previously were in back in the Boneyard.
Oh.
So when I said it was like 1-to-1, it's actually
Yeah.
like 1 to 0.95. There are slight differences between the Boneyard
Oh,
location
okay.
and like, so you can get some stuff from like interacting with the collective thoughts and prayers of all the dead people you talked to in book 1.
Wow. Okay.
Huh.
I think kind of cool, kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's like a weird vibe.
It's just funny because I mean I assume you're gonna go into what you did for Tyrant's Crest, but it's just like nothing. We did none of this.
Yeah, you did absolutely none of this. Pretty much you guys did nothing through book 1 and 2.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So you actually, based on, hopefully you got some additional info from that spirit, but you end up entering Rosler's tomb, but less idealized, and this is where you figure out what the differences are. The one in the Boneyard is the ideal,
Oh.
whereas the one in the material realm has like issues and is broken in places and run down. So if you like remember and you make knowledge checks, like, oh, I remember walking through this.
Yeah.
You can get some
Ah.
additional insights.
Oh man, I'd be so bad at that as
I
a
would
player.
too. Shoot, I don't take good notes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Long story short, though, you find a secret passage, basically where you died or where you were. You find a secret passage in the real one that leads you out of the fog bubble.
Oh,
So that's how you
nice.
escape the fog bubble, and it leads you to a nearby cathedral of Sarenrae called the Bastion of Light.
Love
Nice.
Also, there's like Erasni stuff everywhere.
Like
Like all the iconography. Remember, so this is
Yeah.
1E. Like Erasni is not
Yeah.
a major god.
yeah.
And it's like basically cudgeling you over the head of like Erasni is a thing. Erasni is a thing.
Oh.
Erasni is
Yeah.
a thing. So it's setting
Because
up
she was
all
just
that.
she was just a herald for a while,
Correct,
right? Yeah.
Yes. But it's making sure you know, like, hey, Erasni is a thing.
This is important.
Yes. The last third of this whole book is a good old-fashioned door-kicking exercise. You enter the cathedral. The cathedral's being taken over and used as a headquarters for the Whispering Way. It's led by a Dampier. You fight... I'm not even going to try that name.
Balthazar Quietus.
Balthazar Quietus.
His brother of Balthazar Loudness.
Yes.
Ooh, I like it.
So you fight a bunch of like undead lieutenants and undead like miners. You eventually fight undead versions of yourself,
Oh.
which is kind of weird. So you find your previous bodies essentially.
Oh.
Strange.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like when you escaped the Boneyard, like you kept you, but your corpses were still there.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yes. So there are technically 2 of you.
I would definitely make that a PvP where you fight yourself. Just like you
It
have
is
to
a PvP. Yeah.
you have to play both of yourself.
Oh, you don't play yourselves. But the cool part about this is Balthazar is like really intrigued by this. He's like, wait a second.
There are 2 of you.
Hold on a minute.
Are you a twin?
It's
Yeah.
the
Are
you all
Spider-Man pointing
twins?
meme.
Yeah. So he's like super interested and he's very willing to chat with you of like, hey, so you're dead, but you're also not dead. He kind of offers you like, you can hang out here and like be double dead if you'd like.
Want to join my club? I would like to have twin undeads. Thank
Yeah.
you.
That'd be kind of cool.
But-
I mean, if I had that in my collection, I would just show that off. Look at that. They were undead, but also alive and then undead again.
Double deads. But anyway, long story short, he's like a terror cell leader. He doesn't
Oh.
have any like higher level knowledge. He just knows he was told to show up. He reports all of his stuff to G.
Oh.
Cool.
Just G. That's
Just
all he
G.
reports to. And he knows how to set up the green fog and how to disable it. He has an iron key, which like unlocks and shuts the fog down. So he's supposed to show up, give reports to G, and that's all he knows.
Oh.
So not super helpful for the PCs, maybe a little frustrating, but
Do they
Yeah.
do they kill him to shut it down?
oh yeah,
Or-
you totally
okay.
kill him and then
I was
take
gonna
the
say, it's like, huh, good to know. See ya.
Have fun, dude.
There are a lot of moments in this where it's like, whether the book tells you or not, it's like your PCs might be idiots and decide to side with him. You should punish them.
Oh.
Hilariously then, and this is like, you don't know this yet as a PC, you just encounter Erasni.
Oh,
What?
She's
Okay.
just hanging out. She's level 28. She's fully statted.
holy crap.
She's just here. She's like in like...
As her little undead self?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sam's into this.
Okay, all
Your
right.
players might be stupid and attack Erasnin.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's
So
a level
she-
5 character.
She shows up. She heard psychic whisperings from the Whispering Tyrant. The Whispering Tyrant was trying to recruit her.
Yes.
So, and she like got enough info because she figured out she could go the other way in the psychic connection. Like
Mm.
Tar was reaching out to her, and then she could also like go back and pull info.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, she's Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah. So she got a little info. She figured out what Rossler's coffer was. She got here right before the test. And then she kind of saw everything. Radiant Fire killed her. And it killed all of her Guardian Grave Knights because she has like the Grave Knights who follow her around. But she's a lich, so she just came back here.
This is... Okay, remind me. So this is before Geb stole her? Or is this during?
After.
Okay, so this is during while she is currently the Queen of Geb.
Yes. So
Okay.
she was in Geb. She like got contacted by Baphon, and then she realized to come to Rossler's coffer. She came with her entourage of Death Knights.
Of Gebian Grave
Is it
Knights?
Death Knights or Hell Knights? Death Knights. Grave Knights.
Grave Knights.
She came with the Grave Knights who were previous Knights of Ozum who were killed.
Yeah, because remember, after Erasni died, they held her body at the Knights of Ozum, and they're like, let's go fight Geb for reasons. He killed them.
And took her body.
Turned them
body.
into Grey Knights, took her body, turned her into a lich. She became Queen of Geb. Okay,
Yeah.
so she is full Queen of Geb right now.
Yes, she's full Queen of Geb. So when Radiant Fire goes off, she and all her Grave Knights die. But her Grave Knights are not liches. So she just like comes back from her phylactery and is just like hanging out like, oh man, good thing I'm a lich.
Ooh, and a great time was had by all.
You see a cloaked figure. She is mildly perturbed.
Yeah, and so she like doesn't reveal who she is. She doesn't tell you she's a lich. Like she's basically just cloaked figure. She's like, I'm here to help you. You should trust me.
Ah.
So she becomes like the player's patron.
Oh,
I mean, I'm cool with that.
And again, like the adventure path is like beating you over the head. Like
Yes.
Erasni is the thing.
She's
so, like,
important.
Yeah, so I think if you crit succeeded, you might have a hint, but you're not supposed to know that as a BC.
You don't know
Okay.
she's Erasni at the moment.
You just know that she's a mysterious person who's helping you.
Yeah, so she's like basically her take is she's pretty sure the PCs and her are connected somehow, and if they work together, they can take down Baphon and free her from Geb.
Yay.
So like, what's in it for her? She gets away from Geb.
Well,
That's fair.
Fair.
Yeah. So she tasks the PCs with going to Vigil, the capital, and to keep an eye out for the Tyrant's sinister lieutenant, Gildias.
Yes.
Who won't show up until book 5, I think.
Dang it.
Aw.
Man. What?
Love
Such a
that guy.
fantastic character doesn't show up till book 5?
I know.
Well, we don't know that he's as fantastic in this version. We just know that he was fantastic in Ryan's version.
So great.
He's one for one the exact same person, pretty much.
Okay, great.
You made him more of a caricature, but he's pretty much the same guy.
Gildias was the...
He's a winter white.
Gildias.
Yeah, he was a winter white
He
that
got
we...
bullied by Baphon.
that we
That's
like...
his backstory.
That we beat up and turned to our side and then kept him in a bag of holding for a while. And then he ended up researching with another thing. It was great.
He's
Fantastic.
great. So that's book 2. We're on the train, guys. We're on the Erasni train. I found a literary term. Chekhov's gun.
Oh.
Because like Erasni's there and she's like the gun on the wall and she's going to come back and be important. And like Erasni as a theme keeps coming back. So they're like establishing it early and then like later she'll
Nice.
come back.
Okay.
So like, I think that's pretty cool.
Good job. That's why Paizo's the authors and we're just the dumb
Right.
idiots who play.
So what did Ryan do? He skipped these 2 books.
the
actually-
only ones that
I
had
actually
anything
like these
fun
2
in them.
books. They're just not on theme of what
Yeah. Well,
I just didn't want you to be dead to start.
You wanted more of a gritty war. Like
Yes.
you wanted a gritty war campaign, not a mystery undead campaign.
Yes. So all of my campaign, if I'm writing my own canon story, is happening before the first 2 books basically occur.
Yeah.
And then you guys ended part 1 of your campaign watching this happen.
Okay.
Because you watched the explosions over in
Yeah.
Galaspire and remember I told you 2 explosions. So
Oh.
Galaspire and
and Rossler's coffer.
Yes.
Or yeah.
Yes, Rosso's coffer. So it's a
Okay.
little bit of, but yeah. So everything you were doing, all of this was still happening in the background, just a little different.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I just think it's annoying that it's called Rossler's coffer and we did not find piles of money.
I mean, it was a tomb. I'm sure there was money in it.
Yeah, why wasn't it called a coffin?
You know, Sam, that's a good point. I have no comments. I don't know what to tell you.
Never mind, Paizo. We're out.
That's my one thing.
Literally unplayable.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, my version, you guys were in Castle Everstand,
Yeah.
which is referenced in this book. And yeah, like you guys said, Tara, mine was more of like a war thing, but also...
Yeah. I mean, we started as like Knights of Ozum Squires.
Yes.
So like we basically had to go through an obstacle course.
The other big impediment to this one, and this is my first big criticism, is this whole adventure path is very hero ball. Like, you are the chosen ones.
Mhm.
Oh.
You are the only ones with the the splinters of the shards, and that's like very core to the narrative. And the way our friend group works, I was like not confident everyone would be there every week.
Yeah.
And that guess was correct.
Well, and also, you have times where players die. And
Yeah.
so it's like, what do you do when a player dies and they are you literally need all 4 from the get-go,
Or 5 or 6
or
whoever,
5 or
yeah.
6? It's like, if everyone has a shard, you really need all of them to stay alive.
Yeah.
It also doesn't really make sense from like a narrative perspective. Like if you have a giant like world-ending bad guy, like it doesn't make sense that there aren't other people who are also qualified doing things.
Something has to be contrived. Like
Yeah.
there has to be a contrivance somewhere.
Well,
It is what it is.
and it always, it goes back to the way 6-book adventure paths are, because like you have to
start
take.
really low.
Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, it's like you have to take a party from 1 to 20, and so to get to 20, it's like, what contrivances do you have to have at level 1 for them to be heroes?
Yeah.
Well, but what I liked about what Ryan did was you created it so that there was a battlefield and there were other people, and like other people were showcased doing things.
It's true.
So even though our party ended up doing various important things throughout like the narrative, the idea was never that we were like acting completely on our own and we're the only ones that could solve the problem.
Tyler was mad at me because I killed NPCs off screen.
Who'd you kill off screen?
There were 2 Mendevian Crusaders. I like told the party every week for 3 weeks. I'm like, they need help. And they were like, oh yeah, like it's a side quest. We'll get to it. And then I was like, they're dead. You didn't help them. They're dead.
It's fine. They were fine. I mean, it was cool also with Ryan's, where partially because us as players get bored with characters, so we like to play new characters.
We like to transition characters.
But like the fact that Ryan did 3 parts and we had, of 6 of us, or 5 to start out and then 6 in the second 2, we had 17 different characters all being the heroes in some form. I thought that was pretty cool. And they all showed up at the end. It was just
everyone showed up at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, through 2 books. Like I have very few notes, honestly. I really enjoy through here.
Okay.
It's good stuff, in my opinion.
I'm excited to see where the turn happens.
Okay, well, let's go book 3.
Here's the twist.
Woo!
Not yet. Not too bad. Book 3 is called Last Watch.
We're starting the descent.
Last Wall, Last Watch.
Last Wall.
Remember that.
Cool.
Tyler will remember that.
Yes.
So,
Taking notes, sir.
So the players have been tasked with finding the dangerous and treacherous Gildias somewhere in the city, the capital of Vigil.
Okay. I just can't take him seriously after what we
I
did
know.
to him.
He's supposed to be more of a serious
what we put him through.
No, he does. You know what? I think he did. Well, maybe it's been a while since I read it. So let's see what my own notes say. Because I forget. It's hard because like the things get crossed in my head of like my version versus
what you did versus what they did.
Yeah,
for
That's
sure.
Fair.
So you arrive during another contrivance, because there has to be a couple contrivances.
Yeah,
well, sure. Those are fine.
A 3-day festival called the White Blade Festival.
Perfect.
A remembrance of bloody civil unrest.
Ooh.
Cool.
Seems on the nose.
Because, Last Wall likes war, so
sure.
we remember when we had those. We remember those who fell. We don't let old grudges take hold. Kind of like our own like Civil War, like letting the old grudges go, like just because we hated each other then. But due to increased tensions, because like you have like Civil War reenactors kind of going around, everyone's allowed to travel the city armed. So very convenient to you. You can just walk in with all of your weapons and be like, hey guys. Yeah.
Perfect.
And then the Watcher Lord Ulthun II is not here.
Okay.
He's away on business.
The dude in charge is gone and everyone is in the city full of weapons.
Yes.
Purge
Yay.
time.
So I actually really like this first part. There are 5 explicit NPCs listed as Knights of Ozum that the party can talk to, and they're around for like the whole duration of the book. And it's very much open to GM fiat, like where these other NPCs are. And they're like just around. You can talk to them. You can figure out. But really what you're trying to do is you're trying to like sell them your case that something's wrong. So they all have different perspectives. They all have different angles that they will and won't like from your arguments. And you got to like loop some or all of them into your ideas of like something's wrong.
Okay.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah.
So you're going to travel around the city and you're eventually going to put together clues about the 6 Wise Crows.
Okay.
The 6 Wise Crows are a group of thieves put together by Gildias to steal the shards of the shield and replace them with fakes. So this is actually, I believe, a separate adventure or something you can do, I think, from that other perspective.
Oh, is it?
Maybe not. Again, I might be making things up in my head.
Yeah.
But long story short, you've discovered that the HQ of the Crows is at a dock nearby, and one or more of the members of the Crows will ambush the PCs for like try to keep you from poking around and finding more info. PCs win. You get the full story of the theft. So like you are looped into the conspiracy. The Crows took all the shards, replaced them with fakes. So now you're like, uh-oh. Everyone thinks that the shield that's in the temple that's real is fake. The leader of the Crows, Killibrand, killed her older brother who owned the business, and then makes evidence that they had gone abroad and uses that place as HQ, but someone else beat you to the HQ and killed other people there. It's like it's a whole mess, basically.
A lot of people killed other things.
Yeah,
Stuff happened.
It's a whole mess at the dock. So there's a whole sequence for like, there's information of like separate crimes. You need to pick apart like Batman style, like which crime is the relevant crime to your criming, because there are multiple crimes. It's a good time. But you also are introduced to the Seal Breakers. And this is the group dedicated to breaking the seals holding Baphon.
Oh.
They wear full plate armor covered in skulls. They're not good people. And skeletons, not just skulls. The whole skeleton.
Just only skulls.
It's a good vibe. This is another very straightforward door kicking operation. You like go down to the sewers and you just like rampage through the Seal Breakers, kicking up their temple, going through their own HQ, and figuring out all kinds of stuff.
I always
like
love that in most adventure paths. There's just, you know what? There's time for some nuance and there's time for some door kicking.
Yeah. Some more cudgeling. The Seal Breakers also have taken up shop in a hidden temple to Erasne.
She's everywhere.
She's everywhere. It's weird. Also, her lungs are here.
I'm sorry, what now?
What?
The lung bloodstone of Erasne is here. So kind of like...
in a cooler on ice.
That's not far off. So like Egyptian pharaohs, like they'd like take the organs and put them in pots. Like, so Erasne's lungs are here.
Oh.
And you can grab them. You can take them with you.
Hello, patron. We found your lungs.
Do you want these back?
Fun fact for those GMs out there: Erasne's know as soon as you've grabbed her lungs.
Is she happy about it?
She has a connection to her organs, basically. So she like knows as soon as someone of good grabs her lungs, she's like, oh,
I can breathe a
I
little
want my
easier.
lungs back.
She can't gasp, though.
And also, I guess her
lungs.
Grave Knights do come back eventually. Also, her Grave Knights want to destroy her lungs. This is like a little side quest, which is fun.
Wait, does she and her Grave Knights want to destroy her?
No, she wants her lungs, and her Grave Knights don't want her lungs.
Are her other organs around somewhere?
I think that's the implication, yeah.
Because that sounds like a better quest. Instead, this just becomes the
You
quest
need to fight
find
Baphon.
all of Erasne's body parts.
It's a reverse game of Operation.
Ooh.
But yeah, so the Seal Breakers, you eventually find their head baddie, Yosiduin. Yosiduin.
I like Yosiduin.
Yosiduin. And he reveals that Baphon's going to blow up Vigil.
Oh, snap.
So he's like, you're too late. The plan has already been enacted. The shards have already been stolen, and you're already dead. And then, like, GM timing, like, the earth starts shaking above you as the city is
in the sewers.
Yeah, because you're conveniently in the sewers when the capital gets nuked.
Ew.
So then what happens is you have to like fight your way out essentially, and you emerge into basically a nuclear wasteland.
Oh.
You emerge into the wasteland
Again? We gotta stop meeting
That's
like
true.
this.
This is the second time. This wasteland is way worse though because there's way more people here.
Oh.
So whoever's still alive and those 5 NPCs from before, like if you had good relations with them, they conveniently survive.
Oh.
Or like if you warned them ahead of time, like something's wrong, like they'll have taken preparations and they're around to help you like coordinate escape and evacuation.
Oof.
So this is the fun mini game of the book where completing the NPC missions both before and after the explosion nets you survivors.
Oh, nice.
The floor is 500.
Ooh.
The ceiling is 2,000.
Whoa.
Dang.
So if you do everything wrong, you escape with 500 people from the capital. If you do everything right, you escape with about 2,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This also kind of happened. You guys saw this from the outside, and then you guys made characters that experienced this.
That were escaping.
Our third part characters were
survivors.
The people who ended up being Crimson Reclaimers.
Yes.
They were the survivors of Vigil.
Yeah. Yeah, so you get involved there. It's noted then that Castle Everstand is like the nearest sanctuary or the nearest convenient place to go. So that's where I got my idea for Castle Everstand. And I was like, oh, I bet we could just run the whole campaign there.
Yeah.
But I like this book too. Like, I think it's really fun. I think you get like kind of Empire Strikes Back of like everything's going awful all the time.
Yeah.
And the threat is present. You now know Baphon is the big baddie. You know, like the stakes are super high and it's not clear from a player perspective, like what the heck you're even supposed to do at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what would be cool? And I'm thinking about this, like, obviously I think it's going to go downhill and there might be a kind of cross point, but like if you ran Tyrant's Grasp, but had all of the notes from your campaign version of it, and like they just happened to see other people, like one of the or like two of the NPCs were our characters from part 3, or like you almost like run the campaign as is, but then just like adjust
have other stuff going on. Yeah.
Since at this point so far they are 2 entirely separate campaigns.
100%. There's like minor things going back and forth, but they're very different. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like not a whole lot of notes. Like I said, I really kind of like this whole adventure path until some certain things happen.
This is what happens. We do fine with like the first few books, and then it's the 4
the first
through
3 books are like they're moving, man.
I
feel
think
like things are moving.
I think that is why this goes back to why the 3-book adventure path is the ideal form of adventure path. You can do a nice, tight adventure in 3 books that is either high level, 11 to 20, medium, or like low level, 1 to 10, and like it all connect immediately, and you don't have to like have as many shenanigans.
It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
Not a beginning, a middle,
a
middler,
filler. You don't have like 2 filler seasons in there.
Right.
Well, Tyler, this is book 3. We're halfway through. Do we want to break here? Do we want to keep going?
I think this would be perfect time to break. We're at like 50 minutes.
Okay.
So
we break.
I think this would be a good break time.
We're ending on a high note.
On a positive. Hello.
Gosh. So really what Ryan meant was, he said this is going to be the explicit podcast. Turns out the first half is great. And then it's just going to, the next one's going to be real bad.
We have minor issues.
Paizo knows that book 4 and 5 can be a little difficult.
To Paizo's like credit and both, their best idea, in my opinion, was going to the 3-book adventure path, because books 4 and 5 are always rough.
I think you could get away with like a 4-book.
Yeah. I think there is a 4-book actually.
Like, I feel like that would be okay. That doesn't seem like as much of a stretch to me, because like depending on your story arc, like I think you could do 4 and it not get like too cumbersome. But
in story arc here, like if the 4th book was like roll up, we're taking out Baphon,
right?
That would work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think Season of Ghosts, which was based in T and Shaw, I think that's a 4-book because there's 1 for each season.
Okay.
Kind of cool.
Okay.
But yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, Ryan. This was way. This is like the calm before the storm. Yeah. I feel like there's one of the things I was thinking about is like while we were going through this, it's like, okay, well, I almost expected more commentary of like, oh, here's what Ryan did versus here's what the campaign. But like
but
so
this
far,
has nothing to do with it.
We have had nothing to do with it.
It's heavily inspired by. It's not a 1-to-1.
This is inspired Ryan, Tyrant's Grasp, inspired by the Paizo Tyrant's Grasp.
Yeah. I'll stop editorializing because we have a second part. I'll save it.
Okay. Well, this is going to be good. Second part. Nice. Cool. Well, thank you, Ryan. We are excited to finally hit this. Sam was joking that we have all our notes in a Google Drive, and this one was written back in March.
Yep. Wrote this a long time ago.
So we, clearly we had not had a full day to record an entire episode since then, or a whole adventure then. But excited to hit part 2 and see what Ryan's real thoughts are.
Ooh.
So once again, reminder, we have a Patreon, link in the show notes, or search Tabletop Travel Guide Podcast. Join us on the Discord. Thanks to all our listeners. I know this, we have jumped back a little bit to Avestan before jumping into the Mwangi. We'll be back in 2 weeks for part 2. In the meantime, if you want to reach out to us, hit us up at tabletoptravelguidepodcast@gmail.com with any feedback or comments. You can also check our website out. You can check our Instagram at Tabletop Travel Guide. But until the second half. Safe travels.